Kobe Bryant is an all-time great, no doubt about it. The recent inductee into the Hall of Fame has one of the most stacked resumes we've ever seen. He was an 18-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA selection, 9-time All-Defensive Team selection, had the second highest scoring game in NBA history, was an NBA MVP, won 2 Finals MVP, and of course, 5 NBA championships. He has at times been brought up in the GOAT discussion, and his play style as well as his dominance was what made many compare him to Michael Jordan. And of course, he won 5 rings as mentioned before, but we know not all championships are created equal. So how impactful was each one? What is up with it, everybody? My name is Luke, and in this video, we're going to rank each one of Kobe's rings from lowest to highest. The criteria will be based on a combination of how well he played, the context of the ring, and how important it was for his legacy. Number 5, 2002. This playoff run was definitely one of the least memorable for Kobe out of this entire list. This isn't to say that Kobe didn't play well, as he put up his usual numbers in the playoffs, averaging 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. It's just that Shaq was so much better, especially in the finals, where he put up a ridiculous 36 points and 12 rebounds per game. And of course, this postseason will always be marred by the Western Conference Finals against the Sacramento Kings. For those who are unfamiliar, Game 6 of the series is arguably the most controversial playoff game in all of NBA history. Many calls went for the Lakers and against the Kings, and the Lakers shot 27 free throws in the fourth quarter alone. Former referee Tim Donaghy, who got in trouble for betting on games, was at the center of this. He revealed later that this game was indeed rigged in the interest of adding one more game to the series. All of that aside though, Kobe was still great during the playoffs and was super consistent during this postseason as well. It was the last of the three-peat, which is what made it special. But given that Shaq was just much better, and that there was the 2002 Western Conference Finals controversy, this ring ranks at 5th place for sure. Obviously, this isn't to say that this one wasn't good, it's just that the other 4 were much better. Number 4, 2001. This was the dominant and almost perfect playoff run, when the Lakers only dropped 1 game the whole postseason against the Sixers in the finals. At the time, this was the record for the best playoff winning percentage, which would later be topped by the Warriors in 2017. But back to Kobe, this was another case of him playing very well, with Shaq playing better. Kobe averaged 29, 7, and 6 for the playoffs, and 25, 8, and 6 for the finals, which included back-to-back 40-point and 10-rebound games prior to the finals. 48 and 16 against the Kings, then 45 and 10 against the Spurs. But Shaq once again killed it, with 33 and 16 in the finals. This finals also had the infamous Kobe being sad after winning the finals photo. For context, he was upset that his parents did not show up to the game, because they did not approve of his marriage to Vanessa. And this really hurt him, because not only did they not go to the wedding, they were also nowhere to be seen when Kobe played in his hometown of Philadelphia. Nevertheless, this was another case of Kobe's play being overshadowed by Shaq's dominance, and combined with the context of the championship is why this one ranks number 4. Number 3, 2000. Now you might look at Kobe's stats this playoff run and be like, what the hell? How is this higher than 2001? Sure, Kobe's numbers might not have been as high, and Shaq did win MVP this season, but let me explain. He was still a budding superstar, being only 21 years old. And this season, he made it to the All-NBA second team and got his first All-NBA defensive team selection, being the youngest player to ever earn these honors. Prior to the finals, in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals against the Portland Trail Blazers, he led the comeback from a 16-point deficit with a ridiculous 25-point, 11 rebound, 7 assists, and 4 block game. And of course, there was this famous alley-oop to Shaq in the final minute to seal the game and the series. Now moving on to the finals. Kobe hurt his ankle in the first quarter of Game 2 and sat out Game 3 due to said injury. But in Game 4, he stepped up big time after Shaq fouled out. He scored 22 points in the second half and made several clutch baskets, including the game winner to give the Lakers the 120-118 win in overtime and a 3-1 series lead. This was probably his first heroic game of his career, as he proved that he was poised to become the legit superstar with all the hype behind him. Kobe said of the game, "This is the game you dream about as you're growing up. You lose yourself in the moment. You're consumed by the game. In our mind, this is a championship, so we came out with effort. We want to keep it close and make a run." teammate Glenn Rice also said, "That was big time tonight. That had to be the biggest performance since I've been watching and playing with him of his career. He stepped up like a veteran. That just goes to show how much he's matured." He ended the finals on a strong note with a 26-point and 10-rebound performance for a 116-111 victory and his first ever championship ring. Number 2, 2009. This was the first of the repeat when Kobe was the main guy of the team. This also means that this was his first one without Shaq. For context, there was a lot of talk about how Kobe's playstyle was selfish and that he could not win without O'Neal. But of course, he was on a mission, especially after a rough loss the season prior to the Celtics. And this year, he proved all his doubters wrong. Kobe went absolute bonkers in the finals, averaging an absurd 32 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists, en route to the finals MVP, becoming the first player since Michael Jordan to average 35-5 in the finals as the winner. After the Game 5 win, he said, "Well, I don't have to hear that criticism, that idiotic criticism anymore. That's the biggest thing," referring to the critics saying that his legacy was basically carried by Shaq. He even said 10 years later after this how important it was to win without Shaq, saying, "It was important for Shaq and me to go separate ways because I didn't want people to use that against me. They still do. But it was important that I win championships without him." And in 2009, Kobe officially got vindicated, and this ring secured his legacy. And number 1, 2010. Now this was obvious, as even Kobe himself has said that this one was his favorite. The Celtics had beaten the Lakers in 2008, and Kobe was determined more than ever for revenge. And combined with the historic Lakers-Celtics rivalry, he was definitely out there to get the dub. Kobe had to deal with an avulsion fracture in his right index finger, as well as a knee issue which required him to get it drained 3 times during the postseason. This playoff run as a whole was super memorable. It started with a victory over an OKC team with the young Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. This team only won 7 fewer games than the Lakers, showing just how tough the competition was back then. In the next round, he swept Deron Williams and the Utah Jazz, and in the Western Conference Finals, he faced a familiar rival in the Phoenix Suns that just swept the Spurs. This team was on their last legs, and it was pretty much their last chance for a title push. Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, and Grant Hill. It was their final shot, but they would be denied by Kobe, as he had lost to them in 2006 and 2007 and would not let them get away with another victory. He scored 40 points in the first game, then in Game 6, scored 37, which included this clutch shot over Grant Hill. Finally, he faced his demon from 2 years ago, the Boston Celtics. The Lakers came back from a 3-2 deficit, and Kobe had a solid series, averaging 29, 8, and 4. He did have a pretty bad game offensively in Game 7. In fact, this series in general was a defensive grindfest, as both teams only averaged about 90 points per game. But continuing on, Game 7 was a true nail-biter, being close throughout, but the Lakers made several clutch plays to secure the Lakers' 16th championship. Kobe said of this one, "This one is by far the sweetest, because it's dumb. This was the hardest one by far. I wanted it so bad, and sometimes when you want it so bad, it slips away from you. My guys picked me up." Not only was this the hardest title Kobe won, but it was against none other than the Celtics, and this is easily one of the greatest titles won ever in history. But anyway, that does it for this video. The Black Mamba has indeed had some great stories from his career, and these championships are just a subsection of those. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications. Do you agree or disagree with my ordering? Let me know in the comments below, and with that, I'm out. See you guys next time.